The eternal wisdom of Hindu Shastra, survival of the fittest in Sanatan Dharma. Welcome to third podcast of Sanatan Podcast Series by Kaalasya Team, where we explore timeless wisdom and profound insights from spiritual traditions around the world. I'm your host, and today, we are diving deep into the ancient Hindu scriptures, or Shastra, to explore a fascinating concept, the idea of survival of the fittest. Now, while many of us associate this concept with Darwin and evolutionary biology, you might be surprised to learn that the Hindu Shastra, which are part of Sanatan Dharma, have been discussing this principle for thousands of years. But their interpretation goes far beyond the physical and biological, reaching into moral, spiritual and societal realms. So, without further ado, let's explore how the principle of survival of the fittest manifests in Hindu philosophy and how these ancient texts offer a holistic view of what it means to be truly fit for survival in the universe. Segment 1: Understanding Survival of the Fittest in a Hindu Context. The principle of survival of the fittest, as we commonly understand it thanks to Darwin, refers to the idea that in the struggle for existence, those organisms that are best adapted to their environment are the ones most likely to survive and reproduce the next generation. But in the context of Hindu philosophy, the Shastra interpret fitness in a much broader sense to survive. It's not just about physical survival. It's about moral strength, spiritual evolution and living in harmony with the cosmic laws, what we call dharma. In Hindu thought, fitness involves qualities like righteousness, truth and the willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. These qualities are what allow an individual, or even a society, to thrive and evolve in alignment with divine laws, ensuring not just survival but also spiritual growth. Segment 2: The concept of Dharma, the foundation of survival. At the heart of this idea is Dharma, one of the most fundamental concepts in Hindu philosophy. Dharma represents the moral and ethical duties that sustain the order of the universe. Now, if you've ever read the Mahabharata, you know that it's not just a story of war and heroism, it's also a deep exploration of the Sanatan Dharma. The Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata, which is essentially a conversation between Sri Krishna and the warrior Arjuna about the importance of dharma. In the Gita, Sri Krishna advises Arjuna to fulfill his Kshatriya or warrior dharma by participating in the battle of Kurukshetra. But this isn't just about going to war, it's about upholding righteousness. Krishna teaches that survival, in the truest sense, requires us to live in accordance with dharma. Example from the Mahabharata. The survival of the Pandavas, the heroes of the Mahabharata, despite all the odds against them, is attributed to their adherence to dharma. Even when they were exiled and facing severe hardships, they remained committed to righteousness. This moral fitness is what ultimately led to their victory and the restoration of order in their kingdom. Segment 3: Karma and Reincarnation, the spiritual continuum of fitness. Another critical aspect of survival in Hindu philosophy is the concept of karma, our actions and their consequences, and reincarnation, the cycle of birth, death and rebirth. In Hinduism, the soul is believed to undergo continuous cycles of reincarnation, and the quality of one's actions, or karma, determines the circumstances of future lives. So, when we talk about fitness here, we are talking about something that spans across multiple lifetimes. Those who live righteously and adhere to dharma accumulate good karma, which leads to a better rebirth in the next life. In this way, one's survival is not limited to just one lifetime, but is part of a much larger journey of spiritual evolution. Example from the Upanishads. In the Katha Upanishad, we have the story of a young boy named Nachiketa. By seeking and adhering to the ultimate truth, which is Brahman, Nachiketa ensures his spiritual survival and evolution. His fitness isn't demonstrated through physical prowess, but through spiritual insight and moral integrity, qualities that transcend even physical death. Segment 4. The Law of the Jungle, Survival in the Natural World. But the Hindu Shastra don't ignore the harsh realities of survival in the natural world. There's a concept known as Matsya Nyaya, or the law of the fish, which essentially states that in times of crisis, the strong prey upon the weak, much like Darwin's survival of the fittest. But it's more realistic and deeper than Darwin even can think or write about. This idea is acknowledged in the Arth Shastra, an ancient Indian treatise on statecraft, economics and military strategy. The Arth Shastra talks about the need for vigilance and strength to ensure the survival of the state. But here's where Hindu philosophy adds another layer. It suggests that while this law of the jungle might apply in times of lawlessness, it's the duty of a righteous ruler to protect the weak and maintain the dharma. In other words, true survival isn't just about being strong, it's about being just. Example from the Arth Shastra. Kautilya, also known as Acharya Vishnu Gupta or Acharya Chakya, who authored the Arth Shastra, advised kings to be vigilant and strong to ensure the survival of their kingdoms. But he also emphasized that the true strength of a ruler lies in their ability to protect the weak and maintain justice. This balance of power and compassion ensures the survival and prosperity of the society as a whole. Segment 5. Yajna, the principle of sacrifice and collective survival. Now, let's talk about yajna, the concept of sacrifice. In Hindu philosophy, yajna is more than just a ritual. It symbolizes the interconnectedness of all life. It's the idea that survival isn't just about the individual but about the collective. The Rig Veda, the oldest of the Vedas, talks extensively about yajna as a cosmic order that sustains life through mutual giving and receiving. This is a profound concept, as it suggests that our survival depends on our willingness to contribute to the welfare of others. In a broader sense, yajna teaches us that individual survival is deeply connected to the survival of the community and the environment. By performing our duties selflessly and contributing to the greater good, we ensure not only our own survival but also the survival of the world around us. Example from the Vedas. The Purusha Sukta of the Rig Veda describes the cosmic sacrifice of Purusha, the primal being, whose body is offered in yajna to create the universe. This mythological example illustrates that survival and creation are born out of sacrifice, reinforcing the idea that selflessness is key to the survival and flourishing of all existence. Segment 6. Survival of the Fittest and the Varn System. Lastly, Let's explore how the concept of survival of the fittest relates to the Varna system, which categorize society into 4 classes: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. The Varna system is often misunderstood as a rigid caste system, but originally, it was based on qualities and actions rather than birth. In this context, fitness for a particular role in society is determined by one's abilities and character, not by lineage. Each Varna has its own dharma, and fulfilling these duties ensures the survival and prosperity of both the individual and society. This is yet another way in which Hindu philosophy integrates the idea of survival with moral and spiritual fitness. Example from the Manusmriti. The Manusmriti, one of the Dharma Shastra, outlines the duties of each Varna. It emphasizes that when everyone fulfills their role in accordance with Dharma, society functions harmoniously. This balance ensures the survival and stability of the social order, which in turn supports the survival of the individuals within it. A holistic view of survival. So, what can we learn from all of this? The Hindu Shastra present a deeply nuanced and holistic understanding of survival. It's not just about being the strongest or the most adaptable. It's about living in alignment with Dharma, accumulating good karma, performing yajna and fulfilling our roles in society. True fitness, according to these ancient texts, is defined not just by physical strength or adaptability but by righteousness, selflessness and spiritual wisdom. These qualities are what ensure our survival, not just in this life but across lifetimes, and guide us toward harmony, prosperity and spiritual fulfillment. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the ancient wisdom of the Hindu Shastra. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Kaalasya YouTube channel, share it with others who might find it enlightening, and stay tuned for more explorations of spiritual and philosophical wisdom from around the world. Until next time, remember, true survival is about more than just staying alive. It's about living in harmony with the eternal laws of the universe. This has been your host with Sanatan Podcast by Kaalasya Team. Thank you for listening, and may you continue to thrive in both body and spirit. Important notice: the entire content and writing for this podcast has been done by Sultan Singh, creative writing head of Kaalasya Team.